Good evening. Good evening to students and to faculty gathered here today. A very warm welcome to the University of Buckingham. It's wonderful to have you here today to formally bring you into the university family. What is matriculation? The University of Buckingham follows the great British tradition, most notably upheld by Oxford and Cambridge, of having a matriculation ceremony like this. This is the occasion on which new students like yourselves are formally entered into the university's register. In Latin, that's a matricula, and once entered into the register, you become formally members of the university. The University of Buckingham is a very special university, and I'm proud to welcome you to our unique institution. One of our defining features is that we are proudly independent, and this indeed was the subject of our very first matriculation speech some 44 years ago, given by Margaret Thatcher when she was leader of the Conservative Party before she became Prime Minister. On 6th of February 1976, she told her audience, "Independence, we must remember, is not a gift. It is not something that governments confer, but something that a free people enjoys and uses." Margaret Thatcher, of course, went on to become our own Chancellor after she left office as Prime Minister. The University of Buckingham is very special, but so too is our lovely town of Buckingham. I've lived here for over a year now and recommend it as an extremely friendly and hospitable place. Incidentally, Buckingham is named after a Saxon called Bucca, who founded the settlement in the 7th century in this large loop of the River Great Ouse, exactly, in fact, where the students are gathered today on the Balloff lawn in the Marquee. Ham meant a water meadow, or piece of low-lying enclosed land. Ing means people of, hence Buckingham, the water meadow of Bucca's people. You're in Bucca's meadow, and I am speaking from where you'd normally be under different circumstances, gathered here in the Buckingham Parish Church, up on the small hill, just a stone's throw away from where you are today. Before the Norman invasion of 1066, incidentally, on precisely today's date, the 28th of September, this place had been the site of a Saxon fort. The Normans invaded England, and initially a castle was built on this site. You can still see fragments of the wall if you investigate the churchyard. And this explains why the street leading from town to the church is in fact called Castle Street. Eventually the castle was replaced by this very church in which I'm standing, started to be built in 1777. Today I've mentioned is 28th September. And let me mention two things that happened on today's date that might be of relevance to our matriculation today. On the 28th September 1928, Alexander Fleming returned to his London lab after a holiday in Suffolk and noticed that a fungus had invaded one of his petri dishes in which he was growing bacteria. Curiously, he famously remarked, "That's funny." He saw that the fungus had killed the bacteria closest to it. This chance discovery led him to what later became known as penicillin, the world's first bacteria killer. At this present time, of course, we are desperately hoping for someone somewhere to discover, accidentally or otherwise, a coronavirus killer and to help us, free us from these lockdowns that are causing so much disruption. What happened on that day in 1928, on this day in 1928, reminds us that human progress does work to find killers of viruses and bacteria, and that is the way of humanity. But the story of Alexander Fleming is also one about the way human progress sometimes works, which is important to reflect on as you begin your academic studies here at Buckingham. Alexander Fleming said, "One sometimes finds what one is not looking for. When I woke up just after dawn on that day, I certainly didn't plan to revolutionize all medicine by discovering the world's first antibiotic. But I suppose that was exactly what I did. Maybe some of you will achieve greatness in a similar way. Finally, on this day, 28th September in 1968, the Beatles' single, Hey Jude, reached the top of the American charts. Some of its lyrics, I'm not going to sing them, but here they are. And any time you feel the pain, Hey Jude, refrain. Don't carry the world upon your shoulders. What Paul McCartney is saying, greatly relevant, I think, to our experience now, is don't carry the weight all alone when things go wrong. Sharing the burden with someone trustworthy can be really helpful for your mental health. We are in difficult times now. We can't avoid that. The coronavirus lockdown brings so many restrictions that are impinging on us. Don't carry burdens alone. There are many people here who can share things with you when they get too difficult. Take care of yourselves, but know that we are here to take care of you too when you need it. I congratulate every one of you joining with us today and welcome you to matriculate into the University of Buckingham. I look forward to getting to know you on campus in the weeks and months to come and to celebrating your graduation here, in person, in 2 years' time. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you to the university, and as Students' Union President, I want to welcome you to the fact that your experience is in very good hands. When I joined in September 2017, it was certainly challenging to relocate and to start a new chapter in my life just after leaving school. I can only imagine how you must be feeling in 2020, and I want to make two important observations. The first is that we are incredibly proud of you. We know that it is likely that you will have had to overcome more hurdles than previous cohorts to start with us. We understand the responsibility that we therefore have to provide you with the positive experiences and opportunities throughout your degree. The second thing I want to say, and this is something that I've observed very clearly throughout the last 3 years that I've spent here, and it is that while we will do our best to help you in every way that we can, ultimately, your student life is in your hands. A student's day is often built in a way that gives you unprecedented control of your time and your choices. Whether or not you decide to come to events, speak up in tutorials, and grab onto volunteering opportunities or part-time work, this is up to you. I hope you say yes to these things that come your way, and I have no doubt that doing so will mean that you will have the best possible time with us. From my side of things in the Students' Union, I represent you, academically and non-academically. But by joining the university, you automatically become members of your union. There are many ways you can get involved, no matter what your interests are. My role is to make sure that this university acts in the best interests of students at every stage. And I'm incredibly pleased that this has continued to be the case throughout the pandemic. Indeed, now more than ever, staff are willing to listen, respond to the needs of the students, and adapt. I am so proud to be at this university, and I want to assure you that before the end of my elected term in office, I will work as hard as I can to do my best for you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name's John Drew. I'm Professor of English Literature at the university and the Dean of the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. And I'm going to say a few words about the learning philosophy of the university, which on the one hand is something that many institutions of higher education will share, but which, on the other, is unique to Buckingham and our particular vision. In the first instance, our learning philosophy is true to the etymology, the origins of the word education itself, which literally, from classical Latin, means a leading forth or a bringing out of each student of the capacities that are already there. At Buckingham, we've no ambition to inject you, our students, with a predefined quantity of knowledge and facts, as though you were somehow part of an industrial production line of empty vessels waiting to be filled. Instead, our philosophy is to assume that you join us today willing and able to discover in yourselves a capacity for understanding, a confidence in your own ability, to allow us to lead out of you your latent talent. And for that, we need to treat you first and foremost as an individual, a complete personality, a whole world of perception, not simply as an ID number or a name on a sheet. And this is where I hope Buckingham begins to distinguish itself from other universities in its learning philosophy, because of the effort and the time that we're going to devote to try and reach you as an individual and a unique learner, unlike any other, either in this cohort of new joiners or in any cohort that has passed down the aisle of this handsome building to matriculate or graduate in the more than 40 years since the university was established. So if I had to choose a key phrase to sum up this philosophy, it would be the quotation used to define the life's work of a great artist of the first part of the 20th century, Edwin Morgan Forster, author of novels such as A Room with a View and A Passage to India. And that was, only connect. Forster himself was someone only ever partly on the inside of the artistic establishment in England, but throughout his writings, only connect is the constant message, which, when we apply it to the Buckingham context, translates into this encouragement to you. Only connect. Connect with us, your lecturers, tutors, support staff, counsellors. Reach out, as we aim to do to you, and the connection will enable your education to be all that you hope for. Thank you.
Good evening, and a warm welcome on this chilly evening to all the students in Buckingham. But as Dean of Business, I particularly fondly welcome the students in the business school, and I look forward to get to know all of you in the coming term. I'm here to share some useful tips on how you can maximize your learning whilst at the university through our online and campus provisions. In my experience, the biggest transition to becoming a university learner is learning to manage your time. The mistake that most students make is to think that time not spent in lectures and tutorials is free time. But sadly, it is not all free time. Quite a lot of it is your independent or group study time, whereby you're expected to read, research, apply, and analyze all those concepts you learn in your lectures or tutorials. So ensure that you set aside time to do this, though not at all forgetting to set aside time to have fun too. Also make sure you set up study or support groups to work together virtually or in a safe way, following all COVID safety guidelines. Remember, whether you're using our online provision or on-campus face-to-face provision, we will provide you the same excellent quality education and support as we have developed over the last 2 terms processes that are inclusive for all. Please note that preparation and attendance at tutorials is compulsory, and we will follow up with you if you miss tutorials, not because we just want to be tough, but only because we wish to understand why you are not attending and then put in place support mechanisms to help you learn. Make sure you know where the library is, both on campus and virtually, and use the resources available. Source some interesting Instagram, Twitter handles related to your subject areas and follow them. Ask your faculty about interesting podcasts that you can listen to and learn. Make sure you stay in touch and seek help from your school, your administrators, Students First, and the academic skills team, but of course, the SU as well. Make sure you are aware of your timetable, when lectures are either online or when exactly the recorded lectures are made available, and when the tutorials are. Your engagement is very, very important to us, and tutors often will review your engagement on the virtual learning environment to ascertain whether there is take-up of the learning material. Remember, if you don't invest time in your learning, you will not be able to do well. Unfortunately, the lastminute.com mantra doesn't always work well in a university context. Make sure you review the feedback on the virtual learning environment on your assignments and exams, and request to speak to your personal tutors, module tutors, to discuss how you can improve your learning. Make sure you engage with your personal tutors again to discuss your academic progress regularly. Understand how you're doing and what you need to do to achieve the best possible outcome just for you. Also, engage with your personal tutors to discuss how you're feeling generally. We appreciate that if you're not settled or happy in your personal life, it does often spill over into your study life, and we want to do everything to help you learn. Finally, make sure you appreciate that education is a privilege and it's fun, it's hard, it's challenging, it's enjoyable, and stressful all in one. Invest in it, enjoy it, cherish it, push boundaries, and remember this quote from me if you wish to get that maximum return on investment in your learning. Learning always begins outside your comfort zone. Thank you, all the very best. I know you will be great.
Ladies and gentlemen, as Dean of the School of Law, I'd like to welcome all our new students to their schools and to the university as a whole, and in particular to welcome the law students. In joining us, you have become part of the university. And indeed, the university is not the buildings that you see around you, but its staff and students, something that's very important to remember if we have to do things virtually. You have chosen to study for a degree at a time when expertise and respect for those who are experts in their chosen fields are under threat. In many parts of the world, we're seeing the rise of extremist parties and politicians who have scant regard for the opinions of educated men and women. This is not new in our history. Those who think clearly and have the courage to stand up for fact and evidence-based reasoning in a world of fake news have often found themselves unpopular with those in power. Speaking truth to power is not easy, and it carries risks, but it is an important thing to do. You should study hard at your chosen subject, not only to gain knowledge of it, but to practice thinking clearly and basing your reasoning on evidence. We hope that we are educating you to be leaders and independent thinkers, rather than those who just follow the crowd. This means that you should learn how to speak up for others. You should use the confidence and the expertise that you will gain here to make your voice heard in the university, in your community, in your chosen profession, and in the world. We need you to speak up whilst you're here and let us know what's going well and how we can improve. You are the university. Help to make it a better place. You can help build it for future students. I wish you all the best with your studies, and I encourage you to be fearless in your search for truth in your defence of clarity of thought, and in trusting evidence rather than prejudice. Thank you, and all the best for your future.
Good evening. I'm Harin Salaheva, the Dean of Computing, and I would like to extend a very warm welcome to everyone who's joining the University of Buckingham, in particular, those who are joining the School of Computing. I would like to say a few words about the skills for 21st century. So, welcome to the age of uncertainties. And I say that with all the positivities. The world of work is changing, and thanks to rapid advances in technologies, this change is changing so rapidly than ever before. COVID-19 has accelerated this change. What would have taken 10 years has happened in just 6 months. Traditional career paths are on their way out, with jobs for life being replaced by new expectations among young graduates. You are expected to hold 11 different jobs throughout your career. Now, the big question is, which skills should you have in order to succeed in this rapidly changing world? And how can we help you to develop those skills? I'm pleased to say that the School of Computing has partnered with Microsoft to offer short online courses in artificial intelligence and cloud computing to all students at Buckingham. These are key drivers of the fourth industrial revolution, and these technologies are going to affect every aspect of our social and professional life. So digital and analytical skills are amongst the topmost desired skills in every field of work. The university offers a range of co-curricular and extracurricular activities, and the number of student societies are growing every year. For example, we are one of only 6 UK universities taking part in CDK Global Tech Competition. This competition allows you and groups of others to develop innovative technological solutions to car dealerships. These are real-life projects where students from business, law, humanities, computing, psychology, medicine, all can come together and solve real-life problems. What's more, you will receive mentoring by professionals. Even more, you can compete for up to 13,000 prize money as well. I encourage you to take part in as many activities as possible. These help you develop your social skills, leadership skills, entrepreneurial skills, and team working skills. Uncertainties create opportunities to develop yourselves and innovate. So, whatever it is that you do, give it your best effort. Always aim high. You are all potentials for greatness. Just strive to bring that greatness out, shine the bright stars you are, and whilst at it, share, be compassionate, be empathetic, and help each other out. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the University of Buckingham. My name's Alan Martin. I'm the Dean of the School of Psychology and Wellbeing. I want to fill a little bit of a gap between some of the things my colleagues have been saying, some have mentioned already, something I'll talk about here today, which is wellbeing and resilience. But before we get to that, we've heard Haran talk about skills for the new era of employability, and Sandra talking about the way we're governed. And I think bringing those things together as psychology, our discipline. Welcome all psychology students and all students to the university. But for psychology, we're used to working between disciplines to help to understand how people behave within different contexts. And so for psychologists, maybe this is a great experiment for us, that suddenly your lives have been thrown upside down over the past 6 months. For psychologists, this is a great opportunity for research and investigation. And it's that not just because we've all experienced the same things, so you can look at how people react to a universal experience. And that, of course, is not just in one country with one particular government, but as Sandra said, different governments in different parts of the world and with different types of technology, we can see how people interact with those and how they respond. And that's what psychology looks at, people's experiences in those contexts. And we have specialist areas in cyber psychology, behavior online, and with what we used to call human-computer interaction. And many of the really successful computing and tech interventions in the last 20 years have built in that human component. Of course, most famously and maybe notoriously, social media and its impacts on our lives. In addition to that, we have specializations in creativity and expertise, something has already been mentioned here today, and in health psychology. Well, if you didn't know how that may be relevant until now, you will learn about that on our course. One thing that is relevant to all of you and has been mentioned here today already is the idea of well-being and resilience. And this is very important at Buckingham because it's, for us, we're trying to interact with you to help you to acquire those skills that my colleagues have mentioned, to help you to deal with adverse situations. The way to deal with those is not to try and remove them or remove yourself from them, but as Deb has said, the learning you do will challenge you, and that's good. That is a good thing. Your degree should not be easy and simple, and it should be challenging, and that's where you know that you've learned significant and important life lessons, and even more importantly, skills that will stay with you for the rest of your lives. And it's been said already, but we are here to support you to do that. We do not do the work for you. We are here to help you on that pathway, to advise you, to coach you, and to help you through your degree. So at no point feel like you're alone. As Professor Tooley said, you're not alone at the university. You may be alone at various points, particularly if we undergo another lockdown or other change in circumstances. But we are always here, we're contactable, whether through technology or now on site at the university, to speak to you, to interact with you, and to advise you. So don't ever feel like you can't reach out. For many of you, a university is not the same as a school. We are not your teachers. We do not want to hold some kind of authority position over you. We are here to advise you and assist you in your degree program. So reach out to those who are here to help you. And that way you'll help yourself to develop those skills of resilience. Your well-being will be improved, and we'll all get through this difficult time together. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Jane Tapsell and I'm Pro-Vice-Chancellor for Student Experience. I've had the privilege of working for the university for many years and I've always loved welcoming students at the start of their university journey. I think this year is the most unusual because of COVID-19 and because we're not all together in one place. I can't hear your excited chatter, I can't see you in the audience in front of me, and I'm missing that real connection we get from being in the same place at the same time and getting a real buzz as we make those connections. Having said that, of course, we are able to welcome some students back to campus, and for those who can't travel, a huge virtual welcome. Some large events, such as this matriculation, cannot happen because of government guidelines about large gatherings, but so many aspects of student life are able to happen here on campus in a COVID-safe way. We're happy to be opening our campus for freshers' dinners, for freshers' quizzes, but we're also happy that you're joining us remotely and online and starting to feel those connections. Our Students' Union have worked extremely hard to make sure there's a huge range of on-campus and online activities to help you settle into university life. Buckingham is known for being a friendly university, and we're keen to ensure our innovative and supportive learning and living environment remains at the heart of a rewarding and successful student experience for you all. We're enormously committed to doing everything we can to help you, our students, be safe and to keep all our staff safe. As a university, we will continue to work tirelessly to deliver on our responsibilities to you as students and to the wider communities we're proud to be part of. We will do everything we can to ensure you are safe while you're studying with us. But this isn't something we can do alone. We have a shared responsibility to keep our university safe. Students have shown incredible resolve in the fight against the pandemic. Not just the students at Buckingham, but some examples from our community. Our medical students have offered to help work in a range of healthcare settings. Our staff have made personal protective equipment, and our staff and students have volunteered in many community settings to help tackle isolation and loneliness. And now as we start a new term, we need the whole student body to look out for each other and the wider community in your day-to-day interactions. For some of you, we know this has already started. Some of you have travelled to campus from all over the world and have self-isolated for 14 days in your accommodation before joining us on campus. Thank you for playing your part in keeping us safe. We're sharing with you, or have shared with you this morning, our pledge, which gives you lots and lots of information about how to keep safe, wearing face coverings, staying at home if you're unwell, sanitising regularly. And we want you to take these on board as your responsibility for being part of our student community. Help us to help you keep safe. We know that your university experience looks and feels different to what you may have expected, but then I think probably all our lives are different to what we might have expected in September 2020. We've worked hard to adapt our teaching campuses to keep you safe. You're still able to access our teachers, our student services, and our SU have been incredibly proactive and valued partners in making all this happen. Huge energy and commitment in welcoming you to Buckingham, virtually and on campus, and helping you feel engaged and connected. So thank you to the SU. We know that with a blended approach to learning and teaching, on campus and online, there will be fewer people on campus. Our spaces have been reconfigured to support social distancing, and we're asking you to use your swipe cards to access buildings and to download the NHS app to help us track and trace where we need to. We must remain vigilant. Our community is not just the university campus, but our town as well, and the wider region within which we sit. As students, we ask you to recognise your role as being so important in keeping us safe and keeping our community safe. We want your time here to be safe, satisfying and successful. Thank you so much for choosing Buckingham, and very best wishes on your student journey with us.
Hi everyone, I'm Lorraine. I'm the Vice President for Activities. So my job is basically to make sure that you have fun at university while also doing your studies. To get involved with the Students' Union, we have a range of societies and sports clubs that you can join and be a part of. So for societies, we have a mix of academic, interest, religious, cultural, and medical societies. And then sports clubs, we have 7 active sports clubs at the moment, which range from like netball, basketball, and cheerleading. So all our sports and societies are run by students that are motivated to share their passions and interests with other students. So likewise, if you have an interest that you would like to share with the wider student body, then you are welcome to start your own society or sports club as long as you are motivated and committed to carrying it on. But sports clubs and societies offer a lot of activities throughout the term, and it's a great opportunity to learn something new and also to meet other students. As Harren mentioned earlier, it's a great opportunity to learn some new transferable skills as well, and it just offers a lot of benefits in general. So yeah, we encourage students to take part in the societies and the sports clubs that we have at the university, and also to take part in any activities that the SU is running throughout the term as well. And if you want to start up a new society, just get in touch with me, and I'm more than happy to help you out. Thank you.
Thank you so much to my colleagues, the President and Vice President of the Students' Union, the Deans of Humanities and Social Sciences, Business, Law, Computing and Psychology, my Pro-Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom and your words of encouragement. I want to thank all of you for coming this evening. I welcome you formally now to the University of Buckingham. I look forward to meeting you throughout the evening and throughout the weeks to come. Thank you very much.